and like always, well, today's Monday, but this is a Friday post where we're going to talk about suspension, right?
Yep.
Basically, we're going to talk about the main three. There's a lot about suspension, like with sway bars, end links, all that stuff. But we're going to kind of dumb it down to just like the three types of spring, like the three different ways to lower the vehicle and get the most out of it, the most basic way possible. Starting out straight off the bat, do your research. Don't just like buy something to like lower it as fast as possible. Do your research. That's what I did. Regret it. Could have had amazing coilovers like I do now, like 2 years later. But yeah, just do your research and it'll save you headaches down the road. But yeah, so jumping in, there's coilovers. There's like lowering kits like with iBach and Ford Performance and all the other ones that are out there. And
bags.
There's bags. Air ride. Let's start off with air ride because I think it has the biggest stigma. Actually, I think lowering kits have the biggest stigma between like the centered amount of hate between like where like people with air ride and coilovers, like, because I feel like air rider, like people with air ride and people with coilovers a lot of times like bash heads. And we're like one says they're better than the other. Like the diehard coilover fans will always talk shit about bag riders and they don't have a true performance like suspension because it's not stiff enough to track or it's not stiff enough to like.
Which is untrue these days.
These days it's untrue because it's. We're not going to get into mag ride because I'm not that smart, or I don't know enough about it to talk about it.
I don't remember it.
No,
it's not really the performance guys don't really care about the bag guys because, you know, the guys on bags are doing that for their own purposes.
Yeah. The
issue with coilovers versus bag is the stance kits.
Is it?
Yes, that's where the main conflict is. Because, you know.
Yeah, because they have hurt feelings.
Static is life. And bags are for groceries and
all the memes.
But realistically, you know, air ride is more practical and it looks good at a show. It does not look as good rolling. Whereas, you know, static, you look good at the show rolling, but you also have
oil pans,
duff fenders,
bacon fenders, like all of that.
Quick release bumpers.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. But not I'm not meaning it in the way you mean it. I'm talking about hitting a bump and your bumper flying off.
Oh, I'm thinking of like I was thinking like the newer style, like pin style quick releases. Like the push.
I think that stuff looks horrible.
Not like the typical JDM like rubber band.
I'm talking about all of that.
Oh, you don't like the little like button in the corner where you push and you can just.
I don't like that. That's
really.
Like it's completely functional. I understand its point, but I don't like the way it looks visually.
I saw a stock height Mustang with one on it, and I was like, "Why? What you doing with it?"
I blew my front flares off, and I don't even rub. All right, maybe he's justified.
But no, so with we'll start with coilovers. Coilovers are a great way to get the, I wouldn't say, bags are the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
you
get
newer
decent
bags,
handling with all the functionality of riding at a safe height, clearing bumps, and airing out for the peasants.
Yeah. Where with coilovers, you're set to a height where you can't change it. Within like seconds. Like if you need to get on a trailer, you can't just within seconds max the car's height out above factory height, roll it up on the trailer, and then air it out. There's more maintenance required with bags, especially if you're up north, because you have to make sure there's no bubbles in the airlines because shit will crack. I've ridden in a bagged car, but I've never driven one, and I've never owned a bagged car. The Acura has always been on coilovers. If you're buying coilovers, you kind of have to pick between what you want. You either want a stiff ride and a sportier ride, or you want a comfortable, softer ride. With bags, I feel like, is there a more, like it's more both? Like you can...
Depend on kind of how it's set up. Like Robert Z, he says it rides just as fine. It rides and handles the same as stock. And, you know, and he can air out and flex.
Yeah, with his TEs.
Yeah. Beautiful car though, but
yeah.
you know. It's like from just how much the air ride has improved over the years. You know, it'll handle about the same as stock, if not a little bit better sometimes.
Yeah.
Depending on how you set it up, the pressures you run, the management, and all that you use. Like you use a little toggle switch management, and that's probably gonna ride like shit. But you have like your AccuAir and your Airlift, their management systems, and it's great. Like honestly, you really just should. You just get the management system like an Airlift management, and you could run pretty much whatever bags you want, save money. I mean, it's not suggested, but I mean, you could cut a lot of costs out of a kit just buying the management.
Yeah. And then like the new like is it Air Ride's Evo tank?
Or AccuAir's.
AccuAir's Evo tank.
I think it's Endo tank.
Endo tank.
I'm not exactly sure, but they're like it's just super quiet.
It's their newest tank.
And you know it's
like
AccuAir is really good. It's really well known, reputable brand, and it's just really expensive. You know, but you pay what you get. You pay what you get. I pay for what you, I don't remember the phrase. Whatever. Pay what you get what you pay for.
You get what
That's
you pay for.
The line.
Good job.
There we go. Yeah. That was bugging me.
But then and then you get into the a lot of people like, I'm saying like a lot, but you get into the people that first start out, you act like, whew, I'm gonna clap for myself too. I can't even speak. I think there's a stigma around like the kits, like the lowering kits or whatever that come with like because there's different ones. There's different stages. There's just the springs that you have to like use your stock strut, and
that'll blow out your strut.
Yeah, and then there's, which I don't recommend doing, like, yeah, it's a quick way to lower your car and make it look more appealing, but at the same time, like, your stock strut was never meant to operate within those restrictions.
Ranges, yeah.
It was designed to operate in the way it came. So the best way to do that is to get, like, the Eibach or other brands, like, full suspension kit where it comes with the springs, the struts, and sometimes even sway bars and end links. But like it's a super easy way to just drop the car like 1.5 to 2 inches. To a certain point, it's what you can afford.
And what you need.
And what you need. Like if you're dailying your, like me, for instance, I drive a 2013 Acura TL. It's a boat. It's never going to see a track day. It's not built for that. It is, but, so like there's no need for me to go out and buy Fortunato coilovers. Now granted, I can go to I'll take it to the mountain sometimes, but it's never going to be a track focused car. Whereas like if I had like a Z or a Mustang or something like that, then I might go and spend
the extra money
for the BC coils or the Fortunato coilovers. But I just did my research and found these coilovers called Rev 9 and rode my buddy's Accord that has them and drove it and everything, and it feels amazing. It felt just as tight and responsive as my buddy's Z with BC coilovers. Like the thing with BC and Fortunato that I love so much about those two companies is you're really paying for what you're getting. It's not just a name. Where like a lot of stuff like like there's a lot of brands out there you have to be careful with. Is like, what's their like are you paying for the name or are you paying for the quality?
Racelands are not that bad.
Are they not?
I just want to put that out there. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Raceland commercials, but I mean, they still are really cheap. But, you know, there's no dealer for a Raceland. It's coilovers. That's why they're so cheap. There's no middleman.
Yeah.
You know, and that's straight off the commercials. But, you know, like Kenny Civic, I'm going to out him here. He's on Racelands. We put him in. You couldn't tell the difference between stock versus those.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've ridden in it. They've been on there well over a year. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it still rides the same. They've been holding up good. You know, they're just not going low enough for his taste.
Yeah.
But you know.
And when it comes to coilovers, if you're track focused, then look into something with a stiffer spring rate and dampening control. But if you're going for all out stance, you might not need dampening. Like you might not, like there's probably not a necessity for dampening control. If
coilovers on the rocks.
If you're not like gonna track your car at all or go to the mountains, etc., you can get a set of coilovers with, like that was the thing. Like I didn't see the need for dampening control on the TL, but then like I started tuning it and started doing performance modifications and doing other stuff and like living 5 minutes away from the Blue Ridge Parkway. I was like, I need to change this. So it came into that, and it's just it all loops back to doing your research, what you need, and how much you're willing to spend. Bags are going to be more expensive than coilovers. Coilovers are going to typically be more expensive than like a suspension kit that gives you like the shocks, the springs, and the sway bars. Because you'll get the coilovers for $1,000, then you have to turn around and buy the springs or the sway bars separately and all that stuff. So, but you need to piece it all together. You can't just buy, in my personal opinion, you can't just buy coilovers and call it a day. You need to buy other parts that help your
supporting mods.
Yeah, you have to buy other stuff like adjustable stuff to help, so you don't have terrible camber wear. You don't throw out bearings, all that stuff that hurt it. It's just like with lift kits and stuff, which Tyler knows more about than I do, but I feel like with lift kits, you can't just throw a lift kit on it and call it a day. Like if you go too big, you'll run into axle issues, transmission issues, bearing issues. It's just like with wheels. If you go too wide, you'll mess up your bearings and all that stuff. But yeah, so, I
mean, I don't know if a lot of people know it, but factory drive shafts can normally accommodate up to about a 6-inch lift. Normally you want to, if it's available, sometimes you don't have to do it, but if it's available to kind of a bracket or something to drop your transmission down a little bit to either help with the angle of the drive shaft or just, get it lower so it's not as much of a strain on it, that's a better option to do. And like crank keys, that's gonna ride rough, but if you're on a budget, it'll do the job in clear 35s on like a Silverado, and stuff like spacers. I mean, if you put a truck on a lift with spacers, your wheel hub hates you, absolutely hates you, and you'll either end up ka-chow or you'll end up as a guy on Instagram with 3 wheels on his truck. Yikes. And that's how it is.
And bolt-on spacers loop back to cars too. Like, it's a good way to, like, if you have OEM wheels and you can't necessarily afford new wheels, or you like your OEM wheels and you just want a wider stance, like.
But it is going to affect
yes
the way your car rides. Like, spacers are going to do the same thing to a truck as like crank keys are. So it's just one of those things. You're moving the mounting the mounting point of your wheel further out, so the car is going to handle a little bit differently. Stuff like trucks, you may lose turning radius and things of that sort. So you really want to find out like what wheels fit best, what offsets will get you what you want. And you may just be somebody that's running -44 and want a 3-inch spacer to go even further out. I mean, it all depends on your preference and what you're looking for and how you want to suffer.
But
that's the truest way you can put modifying a car. How do you want to suffer? Because you're gonna.
Yeah, definitely. You always run into a headache when it comes to modifying, especially suspension, because it's so finicky. Like, it's so finicky when it comes to doing all of that, like with suspension stuff, because like you slap coilovers on it and you slam it, and you still have, like with my car, lower control arm. I have Godspeed lower control arms. They're red, and I had to get them because when I lowered it, it was putting a lot of stress on the stock one, because you can't really adjust the stock ones because it's pretty much a set length. Like, side note, like when you do an alignment on a stock vehicle, it's basically just loosening and tightening stuff for the most part, right?
Sort of.
Because like most of them don't have adjustable control arms and stuff.
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know.
Yeah. And you just paused. But anyways, yeah, so like with coilovers and everything, like even with bags, like you need to have the supporting mods to go with it. It's just like with when you're modifying your engine, you can't just slap whatever you want on there and not have supporting mods. It won't work. Like you can't like I couldn't have put the bigger injectors in and not done anything else and it not work, or tune it with stock everything and it actually gain anything.
Yeah.
Because a stock exhaust is restrictive, a stock airbox is restrictive, and so like with a car, it's people say it waterfalls into more and more stuff, but it's really just it's finding the balance. It's a yin and yang type situation is the best way I can put it when it comes to anything. And we'll get into more stuff like exhaust and performance mods and all that stuff. But to keep it short, the 3 types of ways of lowering your vehicle and getting the look you want: research, research, research. Really figure out what you want to do before doing it, so you don't go out and buy $1,000 coilovers and then go, oh man, I want to bag it, and then now you're $4,000, $5,000 in the hole because bags cost more than coilovers, and you just bought these coilovers. Yeah, you can part them out and sell them, but you won't get the same in return because you've driven on them, etc. Wednesday, we want to hear from y'all more, so comment down below. Let us know your opinions. Are you a static guy? Are you a bag guy? Do you think bags are for groceries? We don't know. Let us know. We'll respond. We'll give us, our opinions. We want to hear yours. Message us on our social medias, like always, down here at the bottom of the video and in the comments or in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and we'll see you next time.
Local boy making fucking global noises.